the roar of the home crowd urges the Kumuls on to win. Hela and Southern Highlands begin peace talks. Skywalkers reunite to share experiences.
This is National MTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. The PNG Kumuls played their first match in front of a packed Oil Search National Football Stadium on Saturday. Having humiliatingly lost to Wales countless number of times, the Kumuls proved to be the better team yesterday with a great support from the home crowd.
The Kumuls have never beaten the Wales Dragons in a World Cup. Both teams last met in 2007. The Wales embarrassed the Kumuls in a 50-10 scoreline defeat. They started building this year's Kumuls World Cup team 2 years ago, with most of the SPPNG Hunters players being named in the squad. With the Hunters taking part in the Interest Super Cup, winning this year's Premiership, and with many PNG players playing rugby league in higher levels in England and Australia, this has helped boost the team's performance.
As soon as we came into the stadium, we sort of looked around and see the people there in traditional colours, and just something so special. We both are really looking forward to that game there. So I think we got a good team again this year. We built this team up over the past 2 years, so getting to a World Cup
Playing 3 pool matches at home is also another huge advantage for PNG in the World Cup. Yesterday's match at the Oil Search National Football Stadium saw over 14,000 spectators cheer on the Kumuls from the start of the match to the final hooter.
Beautiful try it is for the Kumuls. They go in to score. I think the man was Kato Audio.
The rugby league praised fans was what got the Kumuls over the line. The Kumuls will be hoping to get past the pool stages after playing Ireland on the 5th of November, the USA on the 12th. All matches will be played at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. Elijah Levet, National MTV News.
And we'll also have more from that match in Trukai Sports. Moving on, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has acknowledged the work of Kokoda Track Foundation in Papua New Guinea. At the Ralph Horner Oration Dinner in Sydney on Friday, the Prime Minister said KTF has undertaken vital work in some of the remotest areas in the country. He said through funding many projects, especially in the areas of education and health, many young Papua New Guineans are now able to go to school and have proper health services. The Prime Minister also acknowledged the support of the Australian government in improving facilities along the track.
The support provided by the Kokoda Track Foundation now extends to many other parts of the country as well. That is why our government has provided funding in the training of elementary schools in the Gulf province and many other provinces. We are pleased to partner the foundation, and of course we will continue to support in terms of funding and resources the work of the foundation in years to come. Our government recognizes the importance of this organization and the opportunities that it creates for our people in our country.
Leaders of Hela and Southern Highlands provinces have started peace negotiations over the death of 2 Hela policemen in Mendi last month. In a recent meeting in Port Moresby, the Southern Highlands party said they have accepted demands for compensation. However, they have called on their political leaders to take lead in resolving the issue between the 2 sister provinces.
The killing of the 2 Hela police officers a month ago has created much tension between Southern Highlands and Hela province. However, that will soon be over after peace negotiations started this week. The parties agreed that the incident was caused by criminals and said it happened in a time where situations in the Southern Highlands was tense following the national elections. They also agreed that compensation will be met as well as other customary obligations. But they want their MPs to take lead and they will follow.
So we will go forward with it, and we all agree that the other 4 outstanding parties will have to come to clear, like the 24 candidates group and the leader of Southern Highlands, to have clear standing so we can take responsibility on the incident and repatriate the bodies back to Hela province. The sooner the better.
Representing the Southern Highlands Party, Joseph Kobol also called on the state and the Electoral Commission to assist in the matter. He says negotiations will continue and a peace ceremony will take place in Mendi.
Even it's invisible to see as a state to give the blame to the state, but if it's individual, but the state is responsible. Through Gamato, he has to get responsibility to come up with some ways to take a lead. We will do our own traditional issue with pigs and money in what we do. You have to come some sympathy to bring some money at this stage to have this body repatriated. You have to take the lead.
Meanwhile, the bodies of the late police officers are still at the funeral home in Port Moresby and will be repatriated home for burial once compensation packages are met and peace is restored. Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
The Delta Company from the PNGDF's 1st Royal Pacific Island Regiment has completed the conventional exercise. Commanding Officer of 1RPIR, Lieutenant Colonel Boniface Aruma, explains that each soldier is required to undergo this training each year. The 1RPIR Charlie Company will be doing this exercise for the next 14 days starting today.
Members of the Delta Company have completed the combat fitness assessment test with a 25-kilometer pack march. They started the march from the PNG Defence Force training depot at Goldie and walked for 6 hours before reaching the 1RPIR base at Taurama.
They finished up with a big company attack and they completed the exercise with a 25-kilometer pack march. So they carry everything on them, minimum 30 kilos, maximum 40 kilos of load. And they started off on midnight Sunday night and arrived here 6 o'clock in the morning in front of 1RPIR gate. So they walked from Goldie back as part of the completion to the...
The exercise is a fitness training that each member of the infantry battalion must undertake as a requirement of the PNG Defence Force.
Each infantry soldier in the battalion is required to complete a combat fitness assessment. Every year, each infantry soldier must do that. That combat fitness assessment is a 25-kilometer march that you have to do in 6 hours with minimum 30 kilos, maximum 40 kilos on your pack with your weapon.
The company spends at least 2 weeks in the jungle practicing survival skills amongst other military training. They end the exercise with a 25-kilometer pack march. This is one of the many military training the 1RPIR is doing in the lead-up to security operations come APEC 2018.
So those are steps that we have taken as a unit to really solidify the conventional skills of fighting the war in the jungle. After that now, we will transition into security ops or urban operations training.
Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
For Inspector Regina Jaco, the achievement of following in her father's footsteps as a correctional service officer was overwhelming. She was amongst the 19 cadets who passed out from the Joint Services College at Lay's Igam Barracks. It was a dream come true for a girl who looked up to her dad as her role model.
An excited Inspector Regina Jaco was lost for words that had dreams of becoming a correctional services officer, just like her dad, had come true. Her father, who is currently the Assistant Commissioner Correctional Services for the Northern Region, was no different. He was one of the cadets who passed out of the JSC in 1977.
10 years down the line now, my daughter has also joined up with the correctional service, and happy to see her passing out.
Today, he watched with pride as his daughter graduated. For Inspector Jaco, it was about taking up the challenge in a male-dominated field to be just like her father.
Being a woman, I felt it, and I kind of challenged my dad. I am being a woman, I'm beating you again.
The 27-year-old was one of 7 female officers who graduated from a batch of 19 cadets.
My dad being my role model, I'd like to go out and give my best in the Department of Correctional Service.
Lieutenant Rachel Torovi is another female officer with the PNG Defence Force. She was amongst 3 cadets who were awarded for their performances and was presented with the Leadership Award. something she says was not easy.
As a female, at first I thought there would be some leniency, but hardly. There's no difference between a male and a female.
For Lieutenant Torovi, joining the Defense Force was a dream that she pursued.
Teamwork, personal belief, continue pursuing excellence. Whatever you do, keep on pushing no matter how hard, and you'll get there.
She now hopes other women can also take up the challenge. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lane.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. John Sikowell, a man once regarded as dangerous because of his involvement in a number of major criminal activities in the country, has apologized for his actions. The 42-year-old from Koge village in Simbu Sinisina Yongomul district told EMTV News he has left his criminal behavior behind and is now working for a living. This is the first time Sikowell has come out in the media to announce that he is now reformed.
I never met him, John Sikowell. Me once. John
Sikowell was born in 1976 and grew up in his provincial town, Simbu. Sikowell comes from a big family of 5 biological brothers and 2 adopted sisters. In 1986, he left school and started engaging in criminal activities.
After the school, me start working passing, rascal passing, working trouble in the city.
He was captured by police in Simbu and sent to Barawagi prison for a string of criminal activities, including armed robbery. Between 2005 and 2010, Sikowell was labeled as a dangerous man in society after he teamed up with the late notorious criminal William Caprice and robbed a number of BSP banks in the country.
After that, while I started pushing, me and about the William Caprice, or can be get passing about. I come in up, maybe in run over 2005, 2007, 2010. The last one, 2010, maybe never been back about police been shooting me.
Sikowell was involved in a number of jail breakouts too, but realized that it was only adding more jail time to his sentence. After serving his term, he was released from the Barawagi prison and is now a changed man.
Some protect about security firm, me look at this company and miss around some protecting more property belong Papua New Guinea or people we are working business partner with protection, ranger protection.
Sikowell now resides in Port Moresby and says life has become challenging, but he is happy to be working as a security guard to earn his living.
Then I come to the city, I'm doing life in my heart. So I start going and I marry, me married. I've been start going and I some life, I started marrying my heart. So I find work going and I come booking on the company or call my ranger protection. When I am a company or kiss me or employ me or something like security boy blow.
He has come out publicly to apologize for his actions and hopes his story can encourage others to also change their lifestyles.
So I talk sorry once I make this a country when me bagar name pauni, pauni to bagar name limit as well.
Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Immigration and Border Security Minister Petrus Thomas says there needs to be a clear understanding of what Australia will continue to do to support PNG once the detention centre in Manus is closed. Minister Thomas says PNG's concern is about the residual caseload of refugees not willing to settle and non-refugees who will remain in PNG after the closure. He explains that PNG has no obligation under the revised resettlement agreement to deal with refugees who would remain in Manus or other parts of PNG. Meanwhile, the refugees' lawyer, Ben Lomai, is expected to make an urgent application to delay the transferal of the over 600 refugees on the grounds that the transferal must be done within the human rights law. Chief Secretary to Government Isaac Lupari visited the Internal Revenue Commission on Friday to acknowledge their importance in the government sector. During his address, he challenged IRC staff to build their capacity and go after tax evaders.
This is the third visit of the Chief Secretary to the Internal Revenue Commission or IRC. He says from the government's perspective in delivering goods and services, IRC plays an important role in making that happen.
The reason why I'm always keen to be involved in this organization is because you're the most important organization in any government system. And that's simply for one reason. Because you go and collect the money. Not me, not Treasury, not Finance. It's IRC and Customs. Because end of the year, we passed a budget. We said we want this millions to be made. And that money you make is important because it goes to finance our budget for every year.
However, he says there are many challenges in the field of collecting taxes, and he says IRC must build its capacity to go after big businesses in the country who have been evading tax for years.
This organization, if you're not able to do your job, to be able to go and collect the money, then government's financing of the budget get affected, meaning that we are not going to be able to adequately, effectively deliver service to our people in education, health, infrastructure development, you name it, community development, some of the major programs that we want to put in place, making sure that service get delivered to people and improve the quality of life of our people.
He stressed as public servants, discipline and honesty must be maintained to serve the country. Since taking office, Mr. Lupari has been visiting all government agencies and departments to ensure they are performing their duties for the betterment of the country.
Work hard and believe in yourself. That's all I'm asking. And together I can tell you, we'll create a better Papua New Guinea.
Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
God bless.
National Planning Minister Richard Maru says he wants to see a highway linking Vanimo to Lae. Speaking on Friday, Maru said he would be working closely with Works Minister Michael Nali to build the Momase Highway, the only international highway in Papua New Guinea. Maru is looking at the opportunities that are available on the other side of the border. He says Papua New Guineans shouldn't be limited to buying and selling at the Batas Trade Center on the Indonesian side of the border. The life of a flight attendant isn't all about glamour and delivering in-flight services. It also involves knowledge of air safety procedures and how to handle such situations. But more importantly, it is about ensuring all passengers are at ease and air safety protocols are followed. PNG has had its fair share of flight attendants who have served in their workplace with pride since the 1970s. EMTV News caught up with retired flight attendants who shared their experiences.
The flight attendant profession has been established in the country since the 1970s. It was a profession that was introduced to young men and women that gave them the opportunity to see new places and at that time have the privilege to travel by plane.
You're talking people who were flying first in New Guinea, when New Guinea started. We have people who come and who started with the first flight. I was there with the first flight, and so there's still a few of us alive, still going.
Meet Teresa Thornton, Pauline Titus and Luciana Soanin. These women served as Skywalkers, as it was called among themselves, from the 1970s to 1990s.
The time you're away, and when you get back, you've missed Christmas or you've missed somebody's birthday. You're in the street in an overseas country where you're so away from families, and it's sad, but it's exciting. You have to be really up to date with the emergency procedures, how to handle any situation. So the crew trained pretty well.
According to them, during that time, the basics of air safety procedures and air steward practices were slightly different compared to today. and even more so the uniforms that evolved over the years. But the one thing that remains is the bond that was created in this profession that has grown between them in the aviation industry. Next weekend, they will hold a reunion that aims to bring together all professions in the aviation industry from the past to the current at the Lamana Golf Club. It will be the third reunion and a time for them to walk down memory lane with others in the aviation industry. Merlin Diaukatam, National MTV News.
You're with the National MTV News. We'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National MTV News. Turning overseas now, there's new hope for 1,800 Australians who are diagnosed with brain cancer every year. The federal government announced $100 million to find a cure. The funds have been made possible with a very generous donation from a mining magnate.
Not every day you get a personal call from the Prime Minister.
Malcolm called yesterday just asking how Chloe is and how we're coping.
The PM also delivered the news the Perry family have been fighting for after daughter Chloe was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2013. $100 million in funding to fight the disease.
We've been able to make massive progress in melanoma, in breast cancer, in leukemia over the last 3 decades, but around the world, very little progress in brain cancer.
The Brain Cancer Mission has 2 simple goals.
To double the rate of survival of brain cancer in the coming years and ultimately to contribute to defeating brain cancer as a fatal condition.
It's so motivating when I see what we're up against.
Philanthropist Twiggy Forrest has donated $10 million.
Big business, the pharmaceutical industry, saw no attraction in funding brain cancer research because the statistics are so terrible. And that would guarantee the statistics would stay terrible.
The pool of money will be invested in research and more international collaboration, with the Australian Brain Cancer Mission aiming to give every patient the opportunity to participate in clinical trials.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where we see the spotlight on brain cancer, and we need to make sure that everybody stands up and makes the most of this opportunity.
It really is a game changer.
A family of a pilot killed when his plane crashed on New South Wales' mid-north coast says he was exceptional and loved by many. He and his girlfriend were on board the aircraft when it came down into bush and landed close to a busy highway.
A life spent in the air, but a passion for aviation cost this couple their lives.
That was life, flying and motorbikes, fast cars. He lived his dream.
Yesterday afternoon, Grant Burley and Suzanne Roletta were flying from Toowoomba back to their farmhouse at Johns River, south of Port Macquarie. They never made it, crashing through trees next to the Pacific Highway.
And I seen the plane there zooming along and real noisy. Hell of a lot of noise coming out.
Grant was a successful finance businessman but had lived through a few tough years. In 2014, his wife Kim passed away. 2 years later, his new girlfriend Claire died in a motorbike accident. He'd found love again with Susie.
Susie, she was a lovely girl. She was a lovely girl, just getting to settle in.
The experienced pilot boasted his plane was the best and fastest Cessna 310R in Australia. Investigators spent today piecing together why it went down.
At the moment, they have no reason, or they haven't provided any reason what has caused this crash.
The impact was so severe, the plane has broken into pieces. Parts have been blown metres from the crash site. The runway they were heading for is just 1 kilometre further east. A private landing strip next to the home where the couple planned to build a new life together as husband and wife.
For 5 months in 1942, thousands of Australian troops battled to stop Japanese forces from capturing Port Moresby. Their exploits on the mountainous Kokoda track hold a special place in Australia's National Museum. 75 years after the Kokoda campaign was fought and won, 2 of the few surviving Australian veterans have shared their stories.
98 years, Dick Lewis has enjoyed a quiet life in Wynyard on Tasmania's northwest coast. That was interrupted 75 years ago when he was a World War II infantry corporal in Papua New Guinea, carrying a Vickers machine gun up and down the mountainous Kokoda track.
We carried that ourselves, that no porters carried it, so that weighed us down terribly.
That was a pretty shocking job, actually.
Dick Lewis joined thousands of Australian troops in a fight to stop Japanese forces from seizing Port Moresby. He was mostly away from the front line, but still found himself under fire.
I got shot in the heel, back of the heel. That was just a machine gun. I was talking to somebody and they got onto us with a machine gun. And they killed him and wounded me.
He walked for a day and a half to get medical treatment. And while proud, he dismisses talk of heroism.
Well, you had to do it. You were there. Didn't matter whether you're frightened or not.
Dick Lewis rarely dwells on his memories of the campaign.
It was pretty uncomfortable, hot and humid and dangerous. I don't think much about Kokoda, no.
Ted Howe was 22 when he was sent to Kokoda. Now in a nursing home in Penguin, the 100-year-old recalls the friendships forged on the track.
You and they had mates there with you, so you're looking after one another. He's getting into trouble, you was in trouble with him.
He has no regrets about volunteering to put his life on the line.
To protect Australians, I thought about family and young people, got to do something.
The 75th anniversary of the Kokoda campaign will be commemorated at the Australian War Memorial on Thursday.
You're with National EMTV News. Up next, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Kumuls thrashed Wales yesterday at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. The Kumuls beat Wales 50 points to 6 in front of a record crowd, 14,800.
Well, David Mead, Matty Elliott, a lot of pressure on this young kid.
Kumuls captain David Mead created history yesterday, scoring 3 tries. His first try came in the 4th minute of the game after a set play from 5'8" Asebos. 5 minutes later, he was over the line again in a similar fashion to his first try.
David Mead, the Kumuls captain, he goes in to score.
Nene McDonald would grab himself a try after muscling his way past 2 Wales defenders.
He's strong, he's almost there, he's more than that, he's in.
The kicking duties were handed over to Rhys Martin after Asif failed to convert the first 2 tries.
He strikes it sweetly. I told you he could kick.
The Kumuls were running hard over Wales, with a few players from Wales being sent off. Kato Otio got his first try after a classy grubber kick from Watson Boas. Big Wellington Albert crossed over in the final 2 minutes of the first half to extend the Kumuls lead. The score remained 26-0 at halftime. In the second half, the Kumuls continued their dominance, scoring first through Rhys Martin, who backed his first with another few minutes later. The Kumuls' right wing was outstanding in the second half, with Justin Olam grabbing a try off a kick from Martin. David Mead scored his 3rd try after a grubber from Sharks hooker James Higiaro. Kumuls veteran Paul Ayton grabbed himself a try after a hard run off of a Baptist pass. Then right on the final hooter, Wales got themselves a consolation try after a fumble in the try line from Kumuls winger Gary Lowe.
And going in to score after the full-time siren,
the Kumuls will play Ireland at the Oil Search National Football Stadium on the 5th of November. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
On a related note, Kumuls coach Michael Marum is well and is back at work to prepare his team for next week's match. He was discharged from hospital this morning after being given the all-clear. Marum was taken to the hospital straight after the big win over Wales yesterday after experiencing cramps in his arms and ribs. He thanked everyone for their prayers and support. The Kiwis also thrashed Samoa in the World Cup last night. Their 38-8 win came at a cost.
From the Kiwis at today's recovery session, the victory over Samoa taking a heavy toll on the bodies.
Good old-fashioned headbutt.
The physical nature of the test leaving centre Jared Beale with a double ankle fracture.
Standing out in the centres, Jared Beale looks in all sorts of strife.
The tournament-ending injury means the Kiwis' centre stocks are dangerously low, although coach David Kidwell's confident he has enough depth.
The two people that we've got in the squad, Dean Whare, Peter Hiku, pretty good sound replacements at centre.
Kidwell's lucky there was only one player lost to injury. Right from kick-off at Mount Smart, Samoa meant business.
And here's Lasoni with the change-off.
I give everyone a pass mark for effort and grit, definitely.
Fans treated to glimpses of the new Kiwi style.
Oh, this is opening up for New Zealand. It's going to be an early try.
With flair came plenty of mistakes. 17
errors for the game. We're at the start of the tournament, and that's definitely something that we need to work on. Not kicking out in the full, as a coach killer, as they say.
But there was plenty to like.
Oh, that's a nice option. A beautiful option.
While the Kiwis' debutants were sound, with 3 of the 4 crossing the try line.
For a debutant to get on, the first guy to get on first, was pretty crazy moment for myself, but I sort of just gave myself a few punches to the face just to focus on the job at hand.
He's such a big boy and he's got long arms, so he can sort of get on his offloads. I can't believe he's only like 21 or 22.
Encouraging signs for the Kiwis before they face Scotland in Christchurch. But the entertainment in this emotionally charged opener will be hard to top.
You're watching Trukai Sports. We'll be back with more after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Corporate Va'a Challenge held at the Yacht Club yesterday raised funds for the men's and women's team travelling to Townsville next month. The Va'a Challenge was also a good way to bring together corporate houses to network and be active in sport.
24 teams from corporate houses in Port Moresby competed in the men's, women's and mixed divisions. The 250-metre race got the paddling under the calm seas and clear blue skies at the Royal Papua Yacht Club. Established 11 years ago, club president Okaro Yagi says not only has she seen people from different corporate houses become good friends, but it has also helped them keep fit.
In the Corporate Va'a Challenge are all from corporate companies, and we try to get people firstly for team building. So a lot of the management in their company support that. So they register every year for that. We also get people to come and do some activities.
Okaro says despite the challenge itself, the aim of the club is to raise funds for paddlers who will be travelling to Townsville.
This event is a fundraiser towards sending our canoeing our own paddlers from the club to Townsville. There's a competition in November from 18 and 19, so we are trying to send a team there. So
after the challenge, the winning team had its name carved on a small paddle as well as presentations of medals. Konidobu Canoe Club will send its men's and women's team to Far North Queensland on November 18.
Yes, at the end of the competition we have our paddle as a trophy, it's a small paddle. So since it started, we have been putting names of those teams that have come first. So we put their names on it, but we also give out medals.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
The Hola Off-Season Rugby League is into round 3 of competition with 40 teams participating. President Samasia Talin says the purpose of starting the competition was to bring youth together and keep them away from illegal activities.
Under the scorching heat of Port Moresby, Malay Rangers locked horns with Mutris brothers, putting on a show for the fans who watched comfortably from under the trees. Malay Rangers, who had great defence mechanism at hand, hustled their way through, but Mutris brothers defended well. Both teams, showing class and power, ended the first half at 0-0.
My Bulitaga Rugby League Sports Association, Milatok, thank you, long Honourable Powers Bako, for recognizing the association. And this is a sports association, but we funded 27,000 through long project, long working maintenance, long whole toilet, and then we have been completing finish. So this is a sports association. So we plan to blood all mangi, all stop nothing, all stealing, all mobile, long road. Lo Junction. So that's why we play involving more young youths.
In the second half, Motri's brothers came back strong, scoring the first try minutes into the second half. However, Malay Rangers kept the ball moving through the Rangers' defence to equalise the score. With conversion successful, brothers finished on top with 6 points win to Rangers 4 at full time. In the earlier matches, Eric's brothers played Reds, while Bus Stop Spartans clogged Elcom Dust at 10-0 and Oka Guns and Todd's Nest United equalised 4-4 at full time. President Seamus Yei Latin says the competition is set at the grassroots level to encourage young people to participate in sports.
Involving more young youths, and then for these 6 weeks, we are looking for some kind something also come up. So now we are running the league now. So we got our dreams, vision, lo we are running migo. Play now to stop him, lo season, and then we are some thinking so we need more some support more from the governor and fund him longan every business houses so.
Seimas is calling on NCT Governor Powes Pakop and corporate houses to sponsor more teams from their individual suburbs. Hohola off-season rugby league competition will continue with round 4 games next weekend. Godwin Eki, National, MTV Sports.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. We'll be back with the weather details after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Mostly fine in Daru as well as in Alatau. Fine, but some showers later on for Kerma. Showers and thunderstorms for Popendetta. Afternoon showers for Port Moresby. To the Momasa region, showers and thunderstorms expected in Lae, Wau and Madang. Brief showers in Wewak, mostly fine in Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, afternoon showers expected in Lorengau and Buka, mostly fine in Kayang, Kopo, Rabaul and Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, afternoon showers expected in Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa, showers and thunderstorms in Mendi and Wabek.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Now to end the news, with technology changing every second, the use of smartphones is becoming a common practice throughout the world, and mobile journalism is the next best tool one can use to communicate. MTV staff recently took part in mobile journalism workshops in South Korea, then shared their experiences back home. Mobile phones were also used during MTV's election coverage, the Miriport Community Journalism Program, and yesterday in the match between PNG and Wales.
The convenience of a mobile phone through text, sound and video has until but recently been used by MTV News in a major event. This was during the elections that the technology provided real-time statuses for the newsroom through its election coverage show, Your Vote 2017. Through this, reporters gave updates of polling sites, tally rooms and a fair share of eye-opening news.
With an update on the 2017 national general elections, we begin in Kerma in the Gulf province, where our reporter Tekla Gunga is live via Skype. Tekla, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Can you give us an update on what the situation is like in Kerma?
Yes, Mariba. I'm here in Malalawa station. Polling in this area has been deferred.
Facebook Live was also used in yesterday's Rugby League World Cup match between the PNG Kumuls and the Wales Dragons. The reporter was Shane Soroya. This is the result of the training taken by the news, online and productions team of MTV recently.
Because everything is in there. News, sports, taxi runs, bus, plane, everything, train. And even they pay train on all this with using the phone. They'll just come, just scan themselves and they walk through.
MTV News journalists Jack Lopalve Jr. and Marilyn Diao Katam were recent participants of study trips to South Korea, funded by the Asia Vision News Network, of which MTV is an active member. The meet enabled them to discuss with fellow journalists from the Asia, Pacific to the Middle East and Europe on how mobile phones were used to deliver news.
So some apps for video stabilizing, because we get shaky hands when you're recording. So that's also gonna, like I said, require space in your phone. If you have space in your phone to download the apps for the video stabilizer app, you can also download the KineMaster. But otherwise, you can just use the KineMaster.
EMTV has also embarked on giving social media users a go at recording community-based stories through its community journalism program, Me Report. Users will have to record their pictures or videos and send to the Me Report Facebook page or WhatsApp on 7025-2072. The introduction of mobile phones has greatly changed the landscape for communication in the country. While the government has upgraded state-owned telecom services to a 4G network, there still remains a room for improvement. Harry Agimbari, National, EMTV News.
And that's a news, sport and weather this Sunday, the 29th of October 2017. From the EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Have a safe week. Good night.